Welcome to our special interview about human rights in North Korea. Today we have the opportunity to talk with someone who escaped North Korea, a country renowned for its human rights abuses. We hope that this video will help you gain insight into what life is like for those both living in North Korea and those that have defected. Our guest today is Evelyn Jung. She's from North Korea and has grown a large following on her YouTube channel and other social media platforms. This interview will conduct in English so that more people can hear her story. Get ready to hear an inspiring story about survival, overcoming adversity, and finding freedom. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hello everyone, my name is Evelyn Jung from North Korea, but I'm currently living in United States.
Where did you live in North Korea?
I used to live in the north side, Cheongjin, 한경북도 Cheongjin.
When did you escape and how?
I escaped with my mom. It was winter time, 2013, and she and I decided to escape North Korea to China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then now you live in the US.
Yes, now I live in US and I'm living in Washington DC.
So how long have you lived in the US and South Korea?
I used to live in United States for almost 10 years and now I'm American citizen and I've been here only over a year. So it's not, I wasn't here like long time. just 1 year and then few months.
Then why you decided to go to defect to US instead of South Korea?
My mom, she was really big businesswoman and she knows a lot of people in China and their sons and daughters, they can able to learn English and they can able to graduate college there. So my mom strongly recommend. So, and then I didn't know about like where South Korea at, where American at. So, as my mom say, and then I just decided, yeah, I'll go to US. Yeah.
Then how was the process different compared to the most other defectors who first settled in South Korea?
You mean the escaping process or like settle down process?
You need to stay longer in other country, right?
Yes. Like for me, I stayed in Bangkok for 10 months, but other North Korean defectors who go to South Korea, they only stay 2 weeks or just a month. So I stayed a little while there in Bangkok. I stayed like 10 months and I had 4 interviews. So I didn't go through, what's that called? 국정원? So I don't know like what 국정원 like.
Right, so staying in 10 months and while the others are like leaving to South Korea. So it will be very hard or lonely.
Yeah, it was really very lonely. At that time, I was by myself, and I always be with my family before, but like now by myself, and like there was two different girls' rooms. Girls like it's a jail, but it's like big jail, like big room, and like there's a lot of North Korean defectors coming in for like 15 days, like 2 weeks. Coming in and then they go to South Korea. And then for me, like my room was different. My room was next to them, so it was like a lot of foreigners there. But the first room has like only North Korean defectors. So they just stay there for 2 weeks, and for me, I stay with the foreigners instead of stay with the North Korean defectors. So I stay with the foreigners and I stay with them 10 months, and there was like few North Korean defectors who go to US. So we're like Korea area, like Chinese people area, like Uzbekistan, like people from all over the places. Yeah.
So I heard that during that time, even for someone who wanted to go to the US, could be selected, or sometimes they need to go to Korea as well.
I mean, it's not selected. It's just about like their choices. I made my own choices there. Like, oh, I want to go to United States instead of going to South Korea. So I chose to stay a little while. So like a lot of North Korean defectors keep asking me like, why are you staying here like such a long time? And I told them like, well, I choose a special road. So like for me to stay a little while. So if you need to go to South Korea, then go. And yeah, like I talk with them by like just a little bit, like little chat with like other North Korean defectors. Yeah.
So what was the biggest challenge you faced in adapting to life in the States? How did this affect you mentally?
For me, it's like the biggest part was language and then culture difference. So that was really big wall. Like a lot of people say like, oh, that's not big wall, but it is really big wall for people. Like I'm Asian and I never been to new country like European, especially European countries. So the culture difference and language difference and food and like everything, the school-wise and bus and transportation and like even like the vending machine. Like I don't know how to use a vending machine. Like
And also, U.S. is the biggest enemy you will learn in North Korea.
Right, right.
So like moving from North Korea directly to the enemy state was not easy to make that decision, I think.
Right, but I watch a lot of Russian movies. You know, Russians are communism countries. So in North Korea, we only can watch communism movies. Like China, Cuba, Russia. Like we also watch the Bollywood movies. So like I don't have that much like, you know, offend. Like, oh, Americans are evil. Americans like even Titanic, that was an American movie, but like I didn't know that was US movie. Like later I found it out that was like American movie. I thought that time when I was watching Titanic in North Korea, I thought that was Russian movie. It wasn't that bad for me to accepting who they are. Like I'm young generation and I'm kind of like sponge. Yeah.
Right. So about watching TV in North Korea. So what is it like to watch TV in North Korea?
We have like battery, and there's like two part. One is like legal, like the Mongnan legal city, and then the other one is illegal. That one is like people hiding, like cities and U.S. dump drivers. They hiding from like policemen. We call 백공구, like 109, like. So they keep checking each houses, like anytime they want. So like illegal movies, they're hiding those cities and dump drivers. But the other ones are legal, so we can able to watch. We can buy it and we can like give to friends, like, you know, free way, like freestyle. But like other than that, like we have to secretly like block all the windows and like secretly watching those movies at home.
Right. So for the legal one first. So how many channels will you watch it?
Legal ones that time when I was there was like just one channel, but like every hour have different topics like news, and 3 to 5 p.m. like around that time it's like kids movie. Yeah, kids movie.
So some dramas, movies, and
right
TV
at
shows.
night time, like 8 to 10 p.m. That time they will just give us the free movie.
Right, but it was just one channel, right?
Just
National
one channel. Yeah, you cannot change it. But like when I was Pyongyang, they have separate channels, like 3 channels at the time.
Right,
Yeah.
but except Pyongyang.
Yeah, except Pyongyang. That time when I was there in North Korea, just only one channel. Like each hour have different schedule, I think.
Right. What about the other ones? Have you watched it? You already mentioned that you watched some Russian dramas and movies. And how about South Korean movies and dramas?
I watched a like really old movie, old South Korean movies like 대장금. Like
Very old one.
yeah, very
right?
old like traditional dress and like in North Korea we also wear the traditional dress, but like a lot of traditional Korean dress affected by China, so it's like more designs, like more sparkling designs. But like South Koreans, they're very plain and the colors are very traditional. There's no like Chinese sparkling styles in North Korea. So I was very shocked by like, wow, that's very amazed that in South Korea they make really cool real traditional dress, and I was very surprised by that.
So you recognized that it was from South Korea, but you watched it. It was not allowed to see it. It was not allowed to see the South Korean movies, right?
Right. It's not allowed to see South Korean movies. If police catching us, they will just bring me to jail or bring
Big trouble. Right?
yeah big trouble. So I watch it secretly.
Currently, North Korea has 3 laws to prohibit watching Korean dramas and movies: the Anti-Reactionary Thought and Culture Act, and Youth Education Guarantee Act, and Pyongyang Cultural Language Protection Act. So, what are your thoughts about the punishment for watching South Korean dramas and about these laws?
I think it's not good because make people narrow mind. You know, like I want to become more open mind and watch everything, whatever I want, and like that way I can see other way to think about and like how I accept and how I don't like this, and like they don't have choice. They just like just close everything. You cannot watch this thing, and there's not much option to like if they just close everything, like you cannot watch it, you cannot do this. Like, I don't think so it's a good system.
Then why do you think the government has enacted such laws?
Because they want us to have second thoughts. They just want us to believe them, only them. That's why they're just giving them like they're inserting us to believing them and
So
like all the Kim's generations.
So disconnect from outside world.
Right. Like basically brainwashed.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. So life as a North Korean in everydays, what are some of the most challenging parts of life in North Korea in your experience?
The toughest memory was volunteer work.
Volunteer.
Yeah,
right?
voluntary, and like you must follow those work for free work like after school. So that was the hardest part. Like you have to holding the big rocks, even like girl and boys, like even they're small and big, like they have to serve the farm, and then like voluntary work anytime they need it, like we have to get ready for yeah, that was the hardest part.
So you experienced child labor.
Right.
Have you felt that was child labor when you were in North Korea, or that the mind has changed when you defect from North Korea?
I just always don't want to. I always don't want to be part of them, So like my house was not well off than other people's house. So our house pay a little more, and then I don't go to the labor work.
Yeah, but in just general society in North Korea, people just naturally think there's a children's job, or this job is for someone else, kind of like routines, right?
Yeah, like that time I didn't know, like it was like kid's job, and like I thought everybody had to work this way. Yeah.
About the water and electricity, how stable was the water and electricity supply where you lived, and do you know how this compares to Pyongyang.
I mean, Pyongyang, I think they give more electricities and waters because they have more tall buildings. So instead of Pyongyang, they just give us like few hours electricities and water, and then they just cut off right away. So they're just like whenever you have to be standby, the like electricity is light on or the water is coming out, you have to be standby, get the water and all the buckets.
So when you were defecting, how long in a day could you use electricity and water?
So they give us like random hours. So for example, electricity would be like 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and they just cut off.
1 hour?
Then, yeah, 1 hour. And like 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. they cut off. And then nighttime, maybe like 8 p.m. to 9 to 10 p.m. they cut off. Like they give us like 3 times, morning, lunch, dinner, but it's not scheduled, just very like random. And then especially like February 16, like Kim's birthday, Kim's generation birthday, they give us more electricities. Like special holidays, they give us more water and electricities. We're just jumping around and all family happy because it's been a while to see electricity light on.
So it was back in the days there were more electricity and water, but it's getting decreased the hours.
Well, I think it's the same.
It's the same. Right.
It depends on the situation. Like I think if the country need like more missiles and like bombs and stuff, like they cut off. That's how I think about. But like I'm not exactly sure what they're doing with the electricities and water. Or we're really poor and they don't give us much electricity and water.
For the human compost, in North Korea, cities are required to collect their feces to use as a fertilizer. How much did you have to contribute each year, and what are your thoughts on this?
So like the bucket of shit, like every year in school they collect. They just they have the area like, oh, everybody get the bucket of shit and then put this area, put like this is like class, like first class, second class, third class. So they're collecting all the shit. So there's like certain amount of shit you need to collect every year. Right, correct.
Did you think when you were asked to collect these ones?
It was very disgusting because like I don't want to do it at all, and I think I pay for it. There was like bucket of the shit cost like for example very like $1 or $2, so I
someone
pay
is
for it.
selling it, right?
Yeah, someone's selling it or like give it to school for money. They will just accept the money.
So what happens if you don't meet the quota? Have you heard of cases people stealing other families' waste?
Oh yeah, like I heard about that because they're run out of the shit, so someone's stealing other people's, like, or go to public toilet and they just grab the, yeah. I think they collect like end of the winter time, so the shit is frozen. So sometimes like the frozen shit is better, like melting is like more more suck.
Right. What is the general public's perception of drugs? What are the personal and social side effects of drugs in North Korea?
Well, at that time, drugs in North Korea is really big, and I never had drugs in my life, but I saw a lot of people having drugs. Even my friends and this selling the drugs. So, like for example, my friend, she's really pretty North Korean, but she had drugs from China, and her face turned yellow, and her teeth turned yellow, and her eyes turned yellow. So like she turned really old because she had like Chinese drugs, and she had drugs often. So we call it like ice drug. Like bingsu
Bingdu,
or bingdu
nice.
or like autumn. So we call those specific ones. So that time I was baby, so I don't want to like collect those drugs, and I'm too scared. And I watch a lot of Chinese dramas, and they having those drugs, and they just have heart attack, and then they died. So I was too scared to try those.
Then why North Korean people are using drugs a lot?
I think they're stressed and they're just bored. Like some people, they're well off and they're just staying home and they have nothing to do. They don't go to work. So for my friend example, like she's like 5 or 6 years older than me, so she's just staying home. So she seems bored. So she having a drugs. Yeah, and then she also selling the drugs too.
Are drugs perceived as a dangerous in North Korea, or just people use it?
People use it for fun, but I think drug make people look very, very, very old. Especially their teeth get yellow, and like smoke teeth, and then like eyes are get yellow, and then people find it out like, oh, their eyes are like sleepy eyes, so they look like they have drugs already. That's how we recognize people who does the drugs in North Korea. Yeah.
About the gender-based violence, is domestic violence a common occurrence in North Korea?
Yeah, of course, like women like less stronger than men, like for physically like more smaller. So like men's are more violent.
Right. And it's more acceptable like between the gender-based violence from the
for
men?
me, like I never accept that, but like someone who get married with a man, they just accept who they are and they just keep continue to having this relationship with their partners. But like for me, I never understand, like as kid, like I don't want to get my body to hurt, so I never accept that that pattern. Like guys are more like violent and then hitting women and kicking them, even they're pregnant, they're just kicking them, and they're like using the like hand a lot and using some like stuff to throwing to women and like screaming and yelling. So I think like it's not normal.
It's not normal?
It's not normal, but like it's in general. It's general, more general in North Korea, because it's very old-fashioned. Like we still supporting guys more in North Korea. Like women, they don't drive car in North Korea.
So are there any protections for women or places where they can go to get help?
I don't think so. Like either you go to like a police office, or either you go to your family's house. That's the two way. Other than that, like, or just run away from house. Yeah.
So there's no like social protection against?
There's no social protection at all.
Right. So a lot of North Korean restaurants overseas, they hire young girls to serve at the restaurant and make money. But did you heard that how's their salaries or how they earn money there? Even though you are contributing to make money overseas, but you get provide and only some food and oils.
Right. Yeah, only like maybe if you feel like more money than like other normal restaurant in North Korea, I think.
Then where all the salaries go, you think?
I think all the salaries go to government, or maybe like higher position people. They're just collecting money and the products, and they just bring that to home, and that's why they're more well off, because they have more power.
Right. Some people are saying that money all goes to like developing nuclear weapon or missiles. So that's why.
I don't think so. It's like all the money go to the like nuclear weapons and all that. I think like a lot of North Korean higher position people, they collecting a lot of monies and furnitures and products and stuffs. So, yeah, two ways: either government workers, because they have power.
Okay. If you are allocated work in a specific enterprise or a specific place to work, then can you make a living from it? If not, then what are some other sources of income?
Yeah, black market is big thing in North Korea. Like, so for example, like you go to a company for work and trying to get paid from the salary, but they don't give you salary. As I told you guys, like they give you like oil of 1 bottle of oil, like 2 or 3 kilograms of rice, and just certain things. It's not enough for 1 month for living. It's not even salary for like nowadays day life. So people mostly pay for the company for like, oh, I'm sick. Some people, they go to hospital and they get the like really bad exam. Like they give doctor to like, oh doctor, can you pretend like I am really sick? That way I can provide this paperwork to my company and I'll pay for you. And that's how they get those paperwork to providing company, and they don't go to work. And instead of going to work, they working at the market and get more salaries. So they selling that's why a lot of women they're in the market and selling like tons of stuff in North Korea.
So basically, you cannot survive with a salary. You need to do something else.
Correct. Yes.
Does people accept that conditions? Because like most of the world, actually, if you are working for a certain company or workplace, then we make living with the salaries. But in North Korea, you need to do something else because your salary is only for 1 kilo or 2 kilos rice.
Right. So that's why like a lot of North Koreans, they don't go to work. And some people, they're very like, maybe their family, their dad is government workers, so their house is okay. Their kid doesn't have to be work in the company. So maybe that's why she just go to company for fun and just, play a little bit and come home. And I think that's how. But most of people, if they need to survive, they have to do the business. Yeah.
So what effect does the period of military service have on citizens?
For their lifestyle is like not normal. They're not like social life. They have only military lifestyle for 10 years, like very different than other people. They're like sometimes they're stealing other people's food and like money, and because they're dying for hunger. And also the military like 10 years is really big for them. So they become like more socialized, like not socialized, like militarized, like more, I don't know how to explain, but social and the military is different. Yeah.
So they are not easy to adapt to this social, the average life.
Right, everyday life, yeah.
Personally, I've been to military for a little bit over 2 years, but I changed it a lot during the day. But 10 years will change the entire life,
time.
right? So how widespread is bribery in North Korea?
So there's a lot of different types. Like if you need to get into a higher level position, and some people for example, like the school. If you want to go to a good college in North Korea, you have to pay for the school principal, and
you need to pay for better education,
right?
To accept it,
Except
right?
even they're like high school, in school, like they giving them like, oh, accept me, like I'm in high school, but like accept me, like, oh, I'll pay you this much amount of money, so please accept me, and I will support you whatever you do.
So you need a high score and the money.
The money, yes, always.
What about the other way of life?
Other way of life, like most of kids go to the military, serve the military, and they just go to normal college, or girls, they choose to go to military for 7 years, and some girls they're staying home for doing business, and a lot of people choose different lifestyle in North Korea. Oh, for like the market wise, like if you need a spot for your business, you have to pay for the money for like who owns the market. They're not owner basically, but like they're leaders of the market, and then you pay for like, oh, can you give me this spot and I'll pay you more, and then whatever you do, I support you. I'm your side. So they just give them money, and then like as I told you guys, like I talk about the doctor, like you pay for doctor for like get a fake prescription, like the fake prescription you give to doctor, and you always need the money for like protect yourself.
Paying sounds like the official one, but these are all unofficial.
But
right?
people accept differently. Like if male, they want to have smoke, so people give them like cigarette. But like some people, they want to have just only money. So people giving them like what they want and what they need.
Mm-hmm.
So that way they can become more friend and they can protect them. And
Is that legal thing or illegal?
it's just really behind thing.
Mm.
Yeah, it's really behind thing. You can really see it, you can really notice.
So that's kind of bribery.
Yeah, and you just, for example, like doctor, they have the pocket here, right? So they, like for example, our house that there's like when my teeth out, like we giving this cigarette, and then we put that in doctor's pocket.
So doctor need to have a big pocket.
Yeah, I mean doctor basically they have all big pockets, so yeah.
That's partly because doctors cannot get enough salary.
Right, doctors they don't get enough salary and they don't get paid much from the government, so like a lot of doctors work like that way, and sometimes doctors they don't provide anesthesia to service.
Mm-hmm.
So like only people who pay for a doctor a little bit more, so doctors they providing anesthesia.
That's supposed to be provided for free because it's
Right,
socialist
government.
country.
Yeah, but there's not always much like a lot, so they have to use it like very small amount for like so. In North Korea, a lot of things are missing and not enough things inside of North Korea, so they're always using things wisely.
Right, about the surveillance. What experience do you have with being bugged, wired when you were on the phone?
Yes, I had an experience my house phone, like when you're holding the phone, it calls like boo and then click sound, some collecting sounds. So like I heard about like that's what the recording is, and someone who listening to it.
How cautious are citizens of it, and what do they think about the extreme surveillance?
I mean, we living where we at, so we just accepting like, oh, this is like our life. So we're just careful what we say to other people. We're just really careful, and then more like face to face or go outside and talk about it, because like inside they can put like.
Everyone knows that government is surveillance, like or bugging your phone call.
Right, like you have to be really careful with like people and inside a house, or I think that outside is the most best way because outside is like really big, so you can just talk with them like one by one. Yeah.
So what response is there when you are being bugged?
I think I don't have much experience, but my friends they do, because they talk about they're hiding like thumb drivers, like U.S. thumb drivers. It's illegal in North Korea, so
With
they
some
hiding.
dramas and
Yeah,
movies.
they put it like some secret like inside of the like your clothes, but like government, they find it out where that at. So he caught it, and then he caught by government, so he went to jail for a little while.
What national duties do you have at the end of and the start of the new year? What thoughts did you have about this?
There's a lot of like events, like Kim's family, and then before January 1st, the big event was the Christmas time.
The 24th of December is Christmas Eve here, one of the most important holidays in the world. What is the 24th of December in North Korea?
So that on that day is really big for North Korean people. So like Kim Jong.
As a Christmas or?
Oh, we don't have Christmas at all. We do not have Christmas. I never had experience having a Christmas in North Korea. So like on that day, instead of Christmas, it was Kim Jong-un's grandma's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So we celebrate. That's our event. That's our holiday. So everybody take a day off, and then we having just family time.
So it's 24th of December, Christmas Eve. It's also a holiday, but in a different celebration.
Yes, it's different celebration to North Koreans.
Then,
We don't know about like Christmas.
Then what do you do on that day?
On that day, we just family gathering and just take day off, and it's just holiday. Yeah, we don't do much.
Do you have any song competition on the day?
Yes, like there's a special song, and then on television, they always like putting her videos and movies and musics, put like most of like her background, put that on television. Yeah.
Right. So Kim Jong-un's current leader's grandma.
Yes.
Birthday. So about this similar issue, so in the event of fire or flood, what is the first thing you must save at home?
The most important thing is the Kim's generation's frame and then the pictures, because otherwise everybody protect that, but like for me, like I don't think so I'm gonna protect that. Yeah.
You are not that much into that
Yeah,
ideology.
like our family, we weren't that into Kim's generation. Like I think there's a lot of families are not into Kim's generation in honestly, but like most of families, they're into Kim's generation. They're like dying to protect all those frames and pictures and all that stuff. Yeah.
But at least you were taught that you need to save Kim's portrait when there's a fire.
Yes, correct. Like school teaching us like we need to protect those frames and pictures. That's the first thing. That's the biggest important document.
Rather than your own stuffs or valuables.
Right. That's how schools and in general teaching us, but I don't think so I'm gonna do that.
So do you personally know of any cases around you or heard of it where such disasters occur?
I mean, always like they putting that stories on the TV. So there's like one lady who protecting the tree, like Kim's generation, they fighting for like Japan and South Korea. They have like those special places in mountain. So I heard about the mountain was fired, and the lady was protecting all the trees from those good memories from past. So she protecting the tree, like holding a tree, and like her face got burned, and they sending in North Korea. They sending her like special country, like good surgery. What's that called? Plastic surgery, like countries, and then she come back from like new face. That's how they put on that TV show, and that was really big. Everybody in North Korea know about those stories.
She tried to protect the tree because the tree has Kim family's the comments there.
Right, right.
Right. So there are some special trees with
Right.
that comments, right?
Right, right.
How about the case of Otto Warmbier? In 2016, maybe after you defected, American college student Otto Warmbier was arrested and imprisoned for stealing a propaganda poster from his hotel while on an organized tour in North Korea. Where were you when this happened, and what did you think?
Yeah, like that time I was dumb idea like pulling those like propaganda like posts, and like I don't understand it at all. Like I don't understand him at all. Like it's not your country. You have to respect, and you have to like follow those laws, you know?
He never imagined that could be a big problem at all.
I mean, yeah, in US it's not a big problem, but like it's normal general thing. Like even like if you go to school, you take out those like posts, you'll be like in trouble, or like kids are gonna everybody looking at you. So I think what he act and what he like just take out those posts, it's not good idea. Like
Maybe that's because in North Korea, the poster with Kim family's comments, it will be very critical thing to do something, right?
right, it's very sensitive. Like in North Korea, Kim's generation histories, and like they wanna keep those for respect, like super respect. It's like God.
So itself is a kind of God.
Yeah. So they wanna have like a lot of respect from others. So I think, yeah, I mean I understand like how they, you know, punishing him, and I think it's still scary. That, like,
Right,
yeah.
right. You are not agree with that punishment, but that could happen in North Korea,
Yeah, that
right?
can happen in North Korea.
So as a public figure, and talk about your experience as a North Korean defector, are you ever scared that you might be pushing yourself in danger?
A lot of people who escape from North Korea, they already share their stories on public these days, and I only talk about like based on my experience. And I was students, and I wasn't like high position people in North Korea, so I can able to share my stories, right? So I'm not scared, but like I'm okay, and I'm U.S. citizen, and I'm not North Korean anymore.
Right. But most of the recent defectors, actually, when they come out from North Korea, they were more cautious for like around 3 years. Then they started to having some public speeches. Before that, they were too scared of sharing their stories in our experiences. So what do you think? Why that happens, even though they are outside of North Korea? Why they are still worried about?
I mean, they're still emotional because they grown up in North Korea, and then I know they have family friends in North Korea still, and they can be like emotional about it, and I was too, like first and second year when I escaped, just got out of from North Korea, I was very emotional about it. So that's why I cannot able to share my stories. But after a while, it's just my story, you know, life journey. So just, you know.
Now
yeah, I can able
become
to
a YouTuber, right?
Right. Now I become more comfortable to share everybody.
So would you say that the majority of North Koreans are brainwashed and genuinely loyal to the regime, or rather they are too scared to revolt because they are afraid of the consequences?
I mean, based on that question, literally everything. They're scared, and they're brainwashed. Some people, they're brainwashed, and most of people, they're scared. And some people, they're not brainwashed, but they have to follow because we live that country. We born that country. We born in that country. So we have no choice. Government pushing us, we have to follow them.
So when you think of that thing. You were born in North Korea, but when you experience outside of North Korea, then what do you think of born in North Korea, your fate?
I mean, it's just part of my story and part of my life right now. So I don't think about it as like that bad burning in North Korea because I have that experience. And for example, like my life in North Korea wasn't like that bad and serious. And my house was built off, but like the government was really serious, hard on us. And it's not normal country than other world, so that's why I escaped. Like there's a lot of reason that's why I escaped, and also a lot of North Korean defectors who escape from North Korea, they have a lot of reason too. So I mean, based on my experience, like a lot of people, they talk about like North Korea is such really bad country, but I actually have really good memories living in North Korea. I had friends and I had a like normal meal and normal house and normal like bikes and people around me. So like it's not everything is weird. Like it's just human being and people living in there. So it's just people.
Do you have any hope that the regime will change and things will get better in North Korea?
I mean, I hope, but like it seems like never going to unificate. So I really hope like I can able to go back to my house or meet my friends or go to like my school in North Korea, but unfortunately not right now. So
So what did or do you still miss about life in North Korea?
mostly like the road and
Road?
like the road, and I remember everything. Like Cheongjin have like beautiful ocean, so like the ocean views and the food and the market and friends and family and like my house in North Korea, and I just want to go back one time and
You have a good
having
memory
those-
of your hometown.
right, mostly my hometown and my growing up there that time.
You miss your hometown a lot?
Yes, I do have homesick. When I was in US, I do have homesick, and I was thinking about like why I'm here in US and I don't speak any English, and like people are bullied. Like school, I was in high school in United States, so like a lot of kids are bullied me, and it's not like physically bully, but like they don't talk with me, and because I don't speak English at all, so. I was like left.
Some defectors said that actually many of them told us that they are experiencing some psychological damages and also some nightmares. For example, like in a dream, you were back in North Korea, or
Right.
you were captured while you're escaping again.
Right.
So do you have that experience as well?
I mean, sometimes like in United States, like everybody have guns, but like some people they don't have guns. But like sometimes like I watch too much action dramas movies, and sometimes I feel like the red dots pointing on my head, and which is I don't know, but sometimes I think about that, and then going inside the house at nighttime feels like someone who like following me. That's how I feel when I was living in US. Yeah. Other than that, like I do dream about like North Korea sometime. I do dream about playing with my friends. So, just basic thing, basic like homesick. Yeah.
I see. Then, okay, so what do you like the most about your new life?
I mean, new life is like much freedom, much variety, and like you can able to go any country you want, but except North Korea. I mean, I can go to North Korea because I'm citizenship of United States, but like I don't want to go at all because it's too dangerous, and then like new dress and new style. Like as a girl, like I can wearing like long earrings and I can have long hair, any color I want, but I don't like pink or like blue, this hair color, but. Yeah, but in North Korea, like very limited. Like the skirt and the hair, their hair length have to be like everybody have the same length and very limit. Everything is like limit and rules and laws and.
You can't even wear the jeans. Right?
You cannot wear jeans at all. You have to wear something like basic or very professional like dress style. Very uncomfortable. Yeah.
So like freedom of doing everything.
Right, freedom of doing everything is the really big thing. Like now I can able to drive a car, but in North Korea, I don't think the woman still driving in North Korea.
Thing you want to say to someone who support the better humanized conditions in North Korea and the support for better relationship between North and South?
I mean, like as North Korean, like I noticed like a lot of South Koreans view as North Korean defectors, like oh you come from North Korea, that's why you don't know about this, that, those things. But like actually, like if we learn something, like we just collect sponge because like we're a very clean brain, like we have nothing in our head. Very clear and very pure. So like we learn really fast and like actually North Korean people are very smart very survival. So I don't want like South Korean people to think as like, oh, North Koreans are dumb and like, you know. So I want to South Koreans and North Koreans to be like more respect each other and as like human being. Yeah.
This is our interview with Evelyn Jung. Hope you enjoyed our interview today. And this is what average North Korean defector perspective on North Korean human rights issues. Please check our website and YouTube videos. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.